Medicoma, polymath Medicoma was introduced. To the layman, normally when they are calculating, they will say 1 mile, $1. I mean, 1 mile, 1 million. So if you are doing a 2 mile, paving a 2 mile road, expect the cost will be $2 million. Here we see 255 kilometers, yet we see the cost $364 million. So we believe that it will throw light on all those issues. Why, for example, Bapolo is not included, why the cost is more than 255 million US dollars, and so forth. So to start, we introduce ourselves, then we ask you to introduce yourself, and we take a statement from each of you, each of the agencies, about 10 minutes, not more than 10 minutes long. We start with Senator Tyler.
Katala, Bomi County.
Senator Saj Joseph, Senator of Moscow County and Chairman of the Committee on Transport. Senator Prince K. Moore, Chairman of the Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget.
Senator Johnny Pehe, Chair on Internal Affairs, Governance and Reconciliation.
Senator Boto Kane, Apollo County, member of this committee.
Senator Numili T.H. Batekwa, I chair the Committee of Concession Investment and member of the Joint Committee. I represent Green Crew.
Crankipma County, one of the beneficiaries counties. And of course, that's why I'm here.
Senator Jivon Smith from River Says.
Senator Emmanuel Newport from Aggie County, and for the purpose of this hearing, I am a member of the Judiciary Committee.
Senator Edwin Snow from Lee County, and I am the Vice Chair of the Committee on Public Works.
Chair, Grand Crew County, Chair Committee on Public Works, presiding over the Joint Committee. I will now invite our colleagues from the executive to introduce themselves. After that, we'll take statements from you, starting with the Minister of Public Works.
So I'm Roland Lafayette Giddens, Minister of Public Works. I'm Salif Ara Tyler, Minister of Transport.
My name is Dapu Yempiezu, Deputy Minister for Economic Management, Minister of Finance and Development Planning.
My name is Prince DC Tamba. I'm the Deputy Minister for Technical Services, Ministry of Public Works.
I'm Jeff Liebel, Chairman of the National Investment Commission.
Councilor Charles D.F. Kamode Sutton, Deputy Minister for Economic Affairs, Minister of Justice.
I'm Roger Scott Johnson, the Executive Director of the Public Procurement and Concession Commission.
Thank you. Mr. Minister of Public Works, please make your presentation.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members of this joint committee, distinguished committee, of course, to look at this concession that was submitted by the executive for the pavement of a corridor that starts from Simple Bridge to Bowater South to Tottenham Borough. Also from Minikoma, Foya, Vonchima, and also 30 kilometers of the Medina Rabosport corridor. I appreciate the opportunity, Honorable Chair and members, to present to you this proposed public-private partnership concession for the design, finance, construction, and operation and maintenance of 255 kilometers of primary roads across Liberia, Western, and Northern region. This concession represents a shift towards sustainable road access management, a blending of private sector efficiency with public sector oversight, in line with the REST agenda, infrastructure pillar, and the National Road Fund law. Our strategic infrastructure relevance. The concession corridor links 4 key counties, Mosurado, Bomi, Grand Cape Mount, and Lofa, connecting the free port of Monrovia to the border of Sierra Leone and Guinea, thus reinforcing Liberia's regional trade integration under ECOWAS. The economic corridor includes Simple Bridge, Clay, Bowater Side, which initiate and continue trade and commerce with Sierra Leone as a part of the regional connectivity. Medina Rabosport, which of course enhances tourism and also support fishery development. Mojama, Kolahon, Minikoma, of course, Foya, enhance agricultural transportation and trade with Guinea and Sierra Leone. These corridors are essential and support the regional integration, growth, create market access, agro-logistics, and of course, post-harvest losses and cross-border connectivity. The project scope and design standards, the total length of 255 kilometers, 38 kilometer dual carriageway that will be towed from Simple Bridge to Clay, 217 kilometer single carriageway, of course, with modification up to the border. The future, there will be single, there will be dual lane carriages, 4 drainage system, street lighting, signages, rest stops, and of course, a climate resilient pavement. Safety, we're also going to institute weighbridge barriers and of course, traffic management system. The design ensures that this corridor remains functional year-round and durable for at least 25 years, with overlay at 10 and 20 years. Implementation institutional structure. This project follows a design, final, build, operate, and maintain, which is DFBOM, model under the high-B annuity arrangement. That is 60% EPC plus 40% BOT, and the government will be responsible for 40% financing. Balancing engineering, of course, and our procurement. This is going to be a build, operate, and maintain, and later on transfer to the government of Liberia. Key institutions. The Ministry of Public Works will be executing and regulating agency for this project. Private Fort, which is the concessionaire, will be responsible for financing, construction, operation, and maintenance. We also instituted traffic counts to be able to support this investment, and that will be spoken about by the Ministry of Transport. We're also going to institute toll system on this corridor, and a discussion about revenue sharing concept will also be discussed further by the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Public Works. But just a summary, 75% of this out of the toll revenue will go to the concessionaire, 15% to the road fund to be used again as part of financing our road funds, resource mobilization domestically, and 10% will be used for operational and maintenance of the corridor. The total, which will be 24 years, the total proceed of about 323 million. It's just clear that 15 million will be the annual generation from that. This will just be discussed further when going into details with this conversation. This revenue, the revenue going to ensure that the corridor become self-financing. And this is why, under this arrangement, the government is not providing any sovereign guarantee. Key due diligence for this. The MPW in June instituted a due diligence on Pepperford. And the due diligence report will be made available. I'm sure it was shared earlier, and of course will be discussed. And let me also announce, honorable senators, that the Deputy Minister for Technical Services of the Ministry of Public Works is the project lead on this, and he's on oath, and of course will participate in this conversation as we go forward. I also like to announce that in the due diligence, it was established that Pepperford is a registered company in 2015, operates headquarters in Freetown, Sierra Leone, with a regional office in Gambia, Guinea, and Liberia, and plan for future expansion in Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria, and Sao Tome. Proven international experience, the firm has successfully executed over 500 million in civil works, including works in Tikeko, Patuma, Machua, of course, these are cities and towns in Sierra Leone, Jogro, the 38 kilometers in Sierra Leone, Kenema Township, road at 26.6 kilometer, Kambala, Konoha with 26 kilometer, Freetown Auburn Mobilization Corridor. Mobility corridor was done, funded by the World Bank. Conakry, of course, there's a transversal road that was done in Guinea, and also Banjul Urban Road Project, the Gambia, funded by the Saudi Fund for Development. We'll talk further about that. The engineering soundness about this project. Of course, the pavement meets all required engineering standards. Geotechnical stability, we'll talk further about that. The bearing capacity and compression results fall within 90 to 100%, modified, of course, within the standard and demonstrating structural reliability. Drainage system is designed and of course is resilient to consider the issue of climate change and these effects now that normally affect our infrastructure worldwide because of the changes in climate. I'd like to talk quickly about the economic and social benefit of the project. It will reduce across the corridor travel time by 40%, cut vehicle operational costs and accident rate. Of course, creates about 1,250 direct and 100 of indirect jobs if this concession is finalized and executed. It's going to stimulate, of course, regional trade to enhance agricultural linkages between neighboring countries, that is Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Improve livelihood through access to markets, schools, and of course, health services. Provide Liberia self-sustainable toll road network. And I emphasize that because under this arrangement, there will be toll system developed in these corridors. Maintenance and local content. Of course, according to the concession, there will be two major overlays within the concession period. The first one within the first 10 years, and the second one within the second 20 years. By 2041, the first overlay will be done, and by 2049, the second. There will be training and local empowerment. We have established 10 trainings per district and 250 skilled technicians nationwide over the project. On-the-job and overseas training will also be instituted to ensure that Liberians, engineers are technically ready to work within the corridors of this project. This approach will ensure that Liberia's roads, that particular corridor, those corridors, remain functional and self-maintained even after the concession period. Fiscal and governance safeguards. We're using, of course, a hybrid system, and that is why the domestic resource mobilization, the road fund, will be used as a guarantee for paying out some of what is required. The government 40%, which is 145 million over the life of the project. The project, if executed within time and the resources, should be done within 5 years. We'll also have independent engineers working with the Ministry of Public Works to audit the performance of the project and to ensure that disbursement is done in line with work complete. Revenue flow will be audited through the National Road Fund, where resources that are generated out of the toll system, 15% will go to the road fund. We ensure, of course, fiscal discipline to build confidence in the PPP framework, which is being instituted. As we are aware, the government is currently moving towards developing, of course, and endorsing a PPP policy, which we believe at the Ministry of Public Works will have to attract private financing into the road sector. Over the last 18 years, 20 years plus, I would say, all of the investment in our road sector have been by multilateral and bilateral. It makes sense to begin looking into the private sector. And this project is the first of its kind. To conclude, Honorable Chair and distinguished senators, this PPP concession is a strategic solution to Liberia's infrastructure deficit, especially in roads, a model that combines private sector efficiency and public oversight. It will deliver, and will ensure that quality and resilient road infrastructure. Sustainable maintenance will be funded, of course, by resources or revenue generated from the project for maintenance. Fiscal prudence will be ensured because work complete will be paid based on delivery. The Ministry of Public Works work respectfully. We request, as you're going through the discussions and review and ratification of this concession, to hold that private sector inclusion in our road network development is very key as we proceed to mobilization. Once more, Honorable Chair, members of this joint committee, thank you for the opportunity as we go into further discussions about this concession. Thank you.
Of Public Works and Rural Development, while you were speaking, some of my colleagues walked in. Police, can you introduce yourselves?
I am Senator Simeon Buenon Taylor from Grand Cape Mon County, member of this committee. I'm Abraham Darrell Dillon. I represent Monterrey County, chair the Committee on Foreign Affairs. I'm a member of the Judiciary Committee and this joint committee.
I'm Bill T. Tuawe of Riverside County, member of this committee.
Senior Senator Nova County, one of the affected county of this concession. Chair Judiciary. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Senator Amara Kone from Bapulu County, Chair on Public Accounts, Expenditures and Audit, Secretary General of the Western Liberia Legislative Caucus, and a member of the Joint Committee.
Nyan Toyen from Nimba County, member of the Joint Committee.
Francis said Dopo II, Chairman on Post and Telecommunication, member of the Ways, Means and Finance Committee, member of the Public Works Committee, and of the Council Committee, all part of the Joint Committee.
Minister Myers, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Senators. Good afternoon to Nigerians.
Anthony Myers, Deputy Minister for Fiscal Affairs and Acting Minister of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. And I'd like to apologize for my late arrival due to the lack of function.
swear. Do hereby swear. That the testimony which I am about to give. And to my recollection. Is the truth. And nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Okay, so before we leave the Minister of Public Works, I just want to make this clear, so all of us can be on the same page. Minister, I'll read something to you. If that's true, just say yes. I will use lane instead of carriageway, so the public can understand us. St. Paul Bridge to Clay, 38 kilometers. 4 lanes. Is that correct? Clay to Go Waterside, 79 kilometers. 2 lanes for the concession agreement. Send us. 2 lanes. Okay. Medina to Rabotsco, 30 kilometers. 2 lanes. Clay to Tomabur, 22 kilometers. 2 lanes. And Wajima to Medekoma, about 86 kilometers. 2 lanes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. May we have the Acting Minister of Finance and Development Planning to make his presentation.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Chair,
Mr. Chair, order please. My order is to ask if the acting minister brought anything scripted that he's about to read or submit. Because the Minister of Public Works, this is a hearing, it's a financial agreement. We shouldn't be taking oral statements. If the Minister of Finance has anything scripted.
In response, Senator, the rest of us are here to support the presentation by the lead sector, in this case, the Minister of Public Works. So most of what he presented already contains our collective contribution. So everything we say here will be in support and not in contradiction to anything that he has said.
On that note, I will suggest that the lead person here today be the Minister of Public Works, and if he wants support, then the other speak, instead of them making statements orally. Say they are supporting the Minister of Public Works and his own.
Speak organ, maybe orally. We are recording him. It's on our whatever he says, you'll be held responsible for that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So in addition to the Minister of Public Works comment, we, as contained in the agreement, our participation was meant to ensure that on the financing side, both the inflow, which is the cash outlay or the expenditure for the project, as well as the expected revenue, were consistent with the best interest of Liberia financial balances. So the minister made reference to the road fund. The direct cash injection from the road fund will be about 46 million in the first 3 years. And in return for that, there's going to be a payout into the road fund amounting to 54 million over the life of the project. So that represents an 8 million returns on the investment from the road fund. And the rest of the amount that government should contribute comes from other sources. What did you say? 46 million. And please allow me to refer to the financing agreement for reference. So out of the road fund, we are contributing 46 million in the first 3 years of the project, the active construction period. And for the rest of the amount, the total amount of government financing, which is the total is around 11 farm and no space. I want to show. I want to find a specific 40% of 360. Yeah, so total government outlay is 146 million, of which 46 million will come from the road fund. And on that, over the life of the project, the revenue from the toll operation the road fund gets 54 million back. The remaining 100 million will be funded by government from other sources other than the road fund. And this could include central government budget, it could include funds from other sources, including grant, loans, and etc. And then so this means that there is flexibility about government funding to the project. And we ensure that this should be because we didn't want the road fund to be more or less locked into this project. And then there will be legal implications in the event where there are difficulties in implementing the project. Because a road fund has nationwide applications, it should affect across the country. So we couldn't lock it into one specific project in one region. And then, in addition, the Ministry of Finance is also the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. So we look at the long-term economic growth of the country and what will be the returns on this project. And looking at the Medicoma in particular, starting from there, we realize that our external exit points, there are about 5 key areas, which are significant custom and trade entry points into the country. In the southwest, we have Bowaterside. In the southeast, we have Kavala. In the east, we have Logwatu and Tostown. And in the north central area, we have Ganto. We all know that in recent years, there have been significant improvement in the roads leading from these various points. Apart from Mendikoma, which is in the northwest. And that's the only border post that serves 2 countries at once. So including Mendikoma, fundamental Mendikoma in the project were considered against the backdrop of expected economic activities, both in Liberia as well as in the adjacent areas of Sierra Leone and Guinea. So in short, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning consider both the financial aspect of the project, that is financially feasible, is manageable in the long-term scope of our expected revenue and other cash flows, as well as the economic viability of the project in the long run, especially in the context that this project will eventually pay for itself. So in that context, honorable senators, we want to say that the Ministry of Finance supports the Ministry of Public Works in the concession agreement, which is essentially a PPP agreement. And now you say that Korea will pay for itself 100%. Yes, over the life of the project, we will get all the money back directly, the cash. What you mean? Yes, through the 2 operations. Yes, and my colleague here is also from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. If there are any additional information, please permit him to make his input. Thank you. Mr. Transport.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished senators, our role here is to support the Ministry of Public Works in the implementation of this project in the Western Belt of Liberia. And our role is specific. We are focused on road safety and to make sure that road safety is embedded in the project.
You listed the roads, you listed roads in Lofa, but you say he's protecting the Western Belt. I don't want to know if
No.
exclusive the one in Lofa.
Honorable Senator, I apologize. I did not say I'm protecting the road. Yeah. No. I support the Ministry of Public Works in the implementation of this project by supporting the President agenda, the rest for the roads in the west and also the roads in the Menikama to the Lofa Menikama Road. For us, we look at road safety measures and make sure that it's embedded in the project, which we did. We look at axle load control on the road because the heavier the trucks on the road, or the heavier the vehicles on the road, deteriorate the road. Also, most importantly, we look at traffic count. And traffic count is one of the main decisions that make the road viable. So we have done traffic count from the Bow Waterside area as far as St. Paul Bridge, and we did traffic count on the lower side of the project. And in that traffic count, we ensure that there is inelasticity of traffic volumes on the road. What that means is, usually when you put a toll somewhere, people have the chance of not using that road because there's a toll there they have to pay, and that would be the inelasticity of the traffic volume. So, and when that happens, that means you can collect the toll necessary. So we're trying to avoid elasticity and ensure inelasticity. What elasticity is you have a toll, and because of the toll, you get less traffic volume and you don't collect on the toll. You don't collect fees on the toll. But we ensure that it's elasticity so you can collect. Primarily, we have to do with the project call for 3 tolls. Initially, that will be the TNE area, that will be Clay, and that will be at St. Paul Bridge. Also, we are developing a national toll policy to govern the administration of the toll booths on the road. And so from the Transport Ministry side, that's our support to the project. But all in all, the Ministry of Transport do support the Ministry of Public Works in ensuring that this project comes to a successful completion and implementation. I will sit back and take further questions if you. Thank you.
Chairman, National Investment Commission.
Honorable Chairman, thank you, and distinguished members of the Senate hosting this hearing, this joint committee. We at the National Investment Commission would like to consider ourselves as coordinators for the government. And as coordinators, we decided a while ago to divide ourselves into sectors. So the head sector in this case is the Ministry of Public Works that is managing this concession, supported by the other sectors, which would include the fiscal sectors, headed by the Ministry of Finance, and the legal sector headed by Justice Ministry. But for this concession, the Public AI Associates Road Concession Project is a partnership between the government of Liberia and the private sector. This build and operate transfer framework will upgrade and maintain 255 kilometers of critical economic road corridors across 4 counties: Montserrado, Bombing, Grand Cape Mountain, and Lofa counties. The key features of this road is 1, the 25-year concession period under the design, build, finance, operate, maintain model, and a private sector-led design, financing, construction, operation, and maintenance. The ownership transferred to government of Liberia after the concession period, and toll-based revenue recovery, ensuring sustainable long-term maintenance, and strategic alliance with Liberia's arrest agenda and the national development priorities. The project covers 255 kilometers across 4 strategic corridors, regional trade and economic zones. The St. Paul Bridge to Clay, as we've heard from you, is 38 kilometers in length, and that will cover Montserrado and Bombing. Clay to Bow Waterside, 79 kilometers, Bombing and Grand Cape Mountain County. Clay to Tottenburg, 22 kilometers, Bombing. And Medina to Ravensburg, 30 kilometers, Grand Cape Mountain County, and Bonjima to Mancoma, 86 kilometers, a total of 255 kilometers. The project cost, as you've heard, is $363,908,768.45. Public Ford is responsible to pay 60% and the government of Liberia 40%, and that breaks down to $218,345,261.07, and the government of Liberia $145,563,507.38. The key financial features of this agreement: majority private financing reduces immediate fiscal burdens on the government. The DFOM arrangement ensures long-term maintenance responsibility by the concessionaire. The toll-based revenue model provides sustainable cost recovery mechanism, risk transfer to private sector for construction, operation, and maintenance phases, and fiscal sustainability through a structured public-private partnership framework. Improved road infrastructure will unlock economic growth by reducing costs and travel time. Liberia's economic growth has been constrained by limited paved road infrastructure. The Public Road project directly addresses this bottleneck by improving connectivity and reducing transportation costs. The expected impacts: significant reduction in travel time between Monrovia, Bull, Waterside, and Bonjima, lower vehicle operating costs through improved road surface quality, enhanced regional trade with Sierra Leone and Guinea by upgrade border corridors, increased agricultural productivity through better market access for rural producers, sustainable private sector investment along upgraded corridors, improved service delivery for health, education, and other government services. Employment generation is expected to be 1,500 direct jobs and about 2,000 indirect jobs. The concession mandates that at least 70% of the workforce by Liberian nationals, ensuring direct employment opportunities and skills improvements. Comprehensive technical training program for engineering, toll operation, and road maintenance. Skills transfer to local technicians and engineers for long-term sustainability and career development pathways in infrastructure management and engineering. 25%, at least 25% minimum subcontracting to local civil and road work firms. Procurement priorities, sourcing of cement, gravel, sand, and fuel from Liberian suppliers. Services contracts, Liberian firms provide catering, logistics, and cleaning services. Business linkages, roadside markets, and service stations hosting Liberian SMEs. The strategic outcomes for this project: reduced freight transfer times between Liberia and Sierra Leone, boosted cross-border commerce with Sierra Leone and Guinea, enhanced logistic competitiveness for Liberian businesses, increased foreign direct investment attracted by improved connectivity. In conclusion, the Public Road construction project represents a transformative infrastructure investment aligned with the government of Liberia's arrest agenda and long-term development strategy. We recommend ratification to advance this priority national project and infrastructure investment. Key benefits: improved national connectivity and trade through 55 kilometers of upgrade corridors, employment generation and SME empowerment with 70% local force and 25% local subcontracting, enhanced regional integration linking Liberia to ECOWAS highway system, fiscal sustainability through 60% private financing and toll-based revenue model, and long-term maintenance guarantee under 25-year BOT framework. Thank you, Mr. Senator. Thank you, members of the committee. And we hope that you can support this project going forward. Thank you.
GPCC, I see you ready your speech as you gave some time. Once you say speech, you close. We can leave you ask you questions, no problem, but you're not signatory. Okay. Yeah, you can say. No, you're not free yet. We'll get the questions to ask you. Mr. Justice, you have the final say.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, and Honorable distinguished senators of this joint committee. Pursuant to Title 12 of our executive law, the Minister of Public Works and the Minister of Transport are directly responsible for our road infrastructure. And as a consequence of the authorities vested in them by our law, when this the road project was conceived, IMCC was constituted, and as you may be aware, MOJ is a standing member of the IMCC. Essentially, what did we do in this case? Disregarding the fiscal and the technical regime, our essential duty, our foremost, is to ensure that whatever agreement is consummated is sufficiently adequate so that it becomes enforceable, that sufficient safeguards are in place that are not adverse to the Republic, and we can guarantee that this contract meets those tenets. This is a submission to you, and it is detailed and exhaustive. For instance, if you look at the condition precedent, it addresses some of those things, and there are other subsections in here. Take for instance, assuming the contractor began work and is unable to continue, there's a safeguard there. After 6 months, we disengage. These are things, they are not common to some other contracts I have seen executed between the Republic and other concessionaires or other entities, but there are sufficient safeguards in here that can also be improved, because this is a submission to you, and you have the opportunity and ability to make revision in it. So, and we are here not only supporting the executive, we are part of the executive, but for the good of the country, we are also here to support this process, and we encourage you and implore you to make it work. Thank you.
The way we will proceed, yeah, many senators here. So the opportunity to one question per senator. To start. We're gonna go around. Please, one question per senator to start. We will go that way. I will start with the way the presentations went. I will first call the Committee on Public Works to ask one question, followed by Ways, Means and Finance Committee, then PAC, Committee on Transport, Committee on Concessions, Committee on Judiciary, then we'll continue. Since I'm presiding, I will bring my co-chair the opportunity to ask questions, and also can ask one question. So the Committee on Public Works.
But the formula you using today,
okay. Please ask one question, then we'll move ahead.
I prefer.
Okay, where's the mix? No more.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Presiding.
When members are also here, it means that
The members will ask. Don't worry.
no, but they should be waiting for us.
No, there's no procedure yet.
I'm on the public committee also, and you move for public, you want to wait for me. So if you're going to chairperson,
When my committee chair first, you go around. Don't worry, you ask your question. You have the opportunity to ask your question.
Thank you, thank you. Since we
Senator, do you have any procedure ready?
we're going to committee, we are here, senators.
You
can
ask
ask the chair
question.
to ask questions. I'm on the public committee.
Yes.
And you use your question to Snow.
Mhm.
And on that committee, then you move from the committee and go to waste and means.
Yes, I'll come back to you. Don't worry. I'll come back to you.
You know, other committee. You move from the committee.
Okay, so I think our placement on this joint committee was quite strategic to ensure that the value of money is realized under this concession. So I will begin with the IT Minister of Finance and Development Planning. Mr. Minister, what's the total value of this project? Oh, one question? Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Order, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, order. Mr. Chairman, I have a suggestion. Mr. Chairman, I have a suggestion. Can I make a suggestion? I just a single question first. Because based on the answer, you will be asking another one.
Mr. Chair, we don't need to enter the 8,000.
Yes, please.
So that if one senator gets a relevant question,
Let me ask. Why can't I read his mind? It's not gonna work. Mr. Chair, are you presiding as the emeritus or the?
We were elected individually here. Look, I'm going to speak for me here. But get it clear. What is that?
Okay, our Senator,
Okay. So the total project cost is 363 million, of which direct construction cost is 313 million. Then there are other overheads and other costs in between. So again, the total project cost is 363.9 million, and direct construction cost is 313.9 million.
Okay, let me get a follow-up.
We have here design costs. Then we have contingency of 10. Design cost is 3.9 million. Contingency is 10% of the total cost. That's around 31.7 million. And then construction supervision cost is 6.3 million. Then resettlement action plan, 4.7 million. And then project management by the Ministry of Public Works, that's amount of 1% of the or difference between construction and design costs. Whatever is the difference, 1% of that is MPW management costs, project management costs. That's 3.1 million. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just running up, but there are other. This is direct project costs I'm summarizing.
Again, I'm Senator Jiffon Smith. On a cost issue, the company that's taking this contract, they have their own money drinking. The money that you will give them will be the startup.
We give it, according to the financing model, they provide 60%.
They have to provide 60% of the total 363 million. And that, according to the financing model, will be raised through shareholder loans because they are a corporation. So, shareholder loans. Over all 60% of their funding. What? Shareholder loans in the sense that they will raise all sources of financing, but that will be competed against either current or official shares or dividends of the shareholder.
I'll follow up again, the chair. Have they practiced or worked any part of this work, or this is the first experiment in Liberia?
I will pass that on to MPW because they did the due diligence with respect to their work history.
So when I was doing my presentation, we also emphasized this company has worked in Sierra Leone, Conakry, Guinea, the Gambia, and I also
What is the base of the company?
And I also listed projects that they have executed or are executing. It's in the presentation that I.
What is the base of the company?
See that?
The base.
Sierra Leone company.
Sierra Leone company?
Yes, Sierra Leone company. Yes, Sierra Leone company. Yes. I'm just emphasizing. Sierra Leone company.
I don't know whether my question would be really related to project costs. Yeah, but that's it. No, it's there. Mr. Minister, the total cost of this project is $363 million. Our share of 40% will be 145 million. I just want to know before I ask my question, my follow-up question, how long the construction of this corridor would take? How many years? So 5 years. So per kilometer, how much are we spending per kilometer for these roads?
We are averaging around 900, it should be 975,000 per kilometer. I will refer to my deputy to confirm that.
Yeah, Mr. David. I still I'm on the floor, please. Yeah, now I say
yeah. Honorable Senator, before I respond directly to your question, maybe I need to clarify what Senator Che earlier was alluding to about the length of the road. It is 255 kilometers. However, because St. Paul Bridge to Clay is a dual carriageway, so we consider that 38 times 2. So in actual sense, if you look at it, it's 293 kilometers. Well, at 363 million, if you directly go by saying it's 255 kilometers, then it's not what you talk about that the common people think is 1 million per kilometers. Because from Simple Bridge to Clay, it's a dual carriage, it's 4 lanes. So it's 2 lanes on one side and 2 lanes on the other side. So you multiply that by 2. So in actual sense, this project is 293 kilometers. If you add the additional 38 kilometers, which is times 2.
Yes.
So if you do the math on that, we're averaging about 1.2 million per kilometer.
If that is the case, I would have thought that would be reflected in the project document, because as it stands, when I do my math, we are averaging $1.4 million, because I would just take the buffet. I'm not an engineer, forgive my naivety, but that is a raw figure that I would be using. But be that as it may, on my last question on funding goes to the Public Minister and the Minister of Finance. We are averaging, correct me if I'm wrong, between $35 to $40 million for the road fund. If we are to use the figure that you gave us, is there a possibility, instead of going into debt, for us to mobilize resources domestically, which will constitute around $72 million a year, to do this project of our own and even put a toll on it and raise this money by ourselves without an extended partner, if I may?
Well, again, we are in an arrangement as a public-private partnership, and that's what the executive has proposed. And this is how we will proceed on some of the projects that are not funded by donor partners. The government by itself will not have the capacity to domestically raise all of the resources, but we should. And that's why I emphasize the road fund. The road fund can be structured, and we are working on that structuring and enhancing the performance of the road funds, so that the road fund is able to generate up to 60, 70, 80 million possible annually. And certain portion of that will ring-fence. If you look at the model, it's suggesting that 45 million will come out of the road fund over the period. But if we're able to enhance the functionality of the road fund could do more than 45 million over the life of the project. So if you look at the model by 2026, we should be paying 10 million from the road fund. But the road fund has the potential next year to do more than that. We could pay more than that out of the road fund. And I emphasized that, the Minister of Finance spoke about that the good thing about this project is that the government is not providing sovereign guarantee. So the government could contract its own debt to find the additional 100 million, or the government could increase its domestic resource mobilization. That is, instead of just 45 million from the road fund, the government could increase the road fund potential to raise maybe over the next 5 years, 100 million. It's very possible. And that's why I'm one of those who push for us to make sure the road fund is functioning properly in terms of transparency and accountability.
Emeritus, thank you. Okay, so follow up on the cost. So I read the calculator, as you said, in September. The rest of the roads, excluding the 4-lane road, will come up to 270 kilometers. And if you multiply 38 by 2 and add that to 270 kilometers, it will take us to 293 kilometers. And that's what the joint chair alluded to, that if it's 293 kilometers, literally in Liberia will say the cost will be $293 million. But here we are up to $364 million. I'd like to know from you, how many kilometers do you have from RIA, from Eardale Junction to RIA? Because this is something we have done before. So, and what's the cost per kilometer for that road? I also like to know from you, on the project document, you disaggregated the kilometers for the different road segments. Why didn't you disaggregate the cost?
Senator, so Senator, we did a lot of, as part of our due diligence was also to learn from the RIA projects because, RIA project is a very good project. And that was structured, some structure that we learned from, and some things that we thought we can do better. We can give you some of those scenarios. And the RIA project is about 2.5 million per kilometers. It's a 45 kilometers, and that was 2.5 million per kilometers. The cost is about 116 million, and for 45 kilometers, I'm sure you can do the math. So it's a dual carriage. It's 4 lane, like we're doing, like we want to do for Simple Bridge to Clay. And so if you do the math for Simple Bridge to Clay, it's less than what we're seeing for the RIA. And let me also add that from Clay to Bowater side, we're not going to take out the existing 2 lane. We're adding a new lane. So as part of this cost, it's also maintaining the existing 2 lane that we have, and then we'll do a new 2 lane. So you will, at the end of the project, you'll see that we'll have a 4 lane from Simple Bridge all the way to Bowater side. So, and I think that cost is embedded in this project that, even if you look at it, the existing road, the existing 79 kilometers from Clay to Simple Bridge will be maintained. We'll overlay the entire road. It will remain there. We're not going to take it out. Then we'll add additional 2 lane. So you're going to be 4 lane from Bowater side all the way to Clay, and 4 lane from Clay all the way to Simple Bridge. So this is a very good project.
Let me be clear on this one. From Clay Junction, Bowater side, the existing 2 lane, right? Are you adding 2 more lanes?
No, he said that, but he said I read.
Clear on that one.
He said I read it. Let me provide a clarity.
Yeah.
And I think he already said it. The deputy already said it. That's what will happen. During the negotiation, we negotiated with private fund to do that, and so now it was agreed that we have dual lane from Simple Bridge straight to Bowater side. That's what will happen, and he already said that. So the existing lane will remain. We'll build 2 new lanes, clarify the existing one, repair it, and overlay the entire thing. Yes, it's going to be in the contract.
In the 363.9, it's this.
Yeah, the contract. When we're doing the contract, this is the concession, but we're doing the contract finalization.
No. We are discussing the agreement, not the contract.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, senators, it was agreed that will happen, and that's.
So, Chairman, I have a follow-up. So, like,
This question is for Public Works, or maybe the IMCC. I would like to know is whether you apply one size fits all to all the road in terms of the cost. We're confused. Okay, let me put it this way. The road, there's an existing road from Simple Bridge to Clay and the Bowater side. So the overlay on that road is the same, the one from Simple Bridge to Clay. The cost of overlaying is it the same from Clay to Bowater side?
But the road from Simple Bridge to Clay is going to be a new construction. It's not overlaid. It's going to be a whole brand new road that will be built from Simple Bridge to Clay.
So, Mr. Minister, do you have a breakdown of all of these things you say, the breakdown? Because the cost obviously will not be the same. So in order to settle our confusion, you have a breakdown. You say this is the cost of the road from Simple Bridge to Clay.
Sure, we have the
of the existing road.
Yes, we have the cost.
And this is the let me get done. And this is the cost for the new road to make it 4 lanes.
Yes.
And then you do the same thing for Clay to go waterside? Do you have that?
Yeah, there's a cost for the two new links.
But you don't think it's necessary to get us to look at the reform, whatever we're gonna do or say?
But you want to speak to that? Yes, yeah, but I think I share.
Do we have it?
Yes, we do.
Senator,
I'll have the deputy speak.
Senator, we have it. From St. Paul Bridge to Clay, which is a full length 8 kilometers, is 95.8 million. From Clay to Bowater side, 79 kilometers is 80.5 million. From Clay to Top
And it's broken down.
yeah.
So can you give me that copy because I know you have several copies? Yeah, because we need that.
Yeah.
So we need it. We'll be able to inform us.
Yeah, we can share with you the soft copy. I can even send the soft copy and share.
For St. Paul Bridge to Clay, which is a dual carriage road, is 95.8 million. Clay to Bowater side is 80.5 million. Clay to Tomaborough is 26.9 million. Medina Rubber Sports, which is 30 kilometers of the remaining available one from where we don't have a contract, it's 28.6 million. And Vanjama Menacoma is 85.7 million.
You'll do well if you give us the copies so that you know.
Are all the same design?
So I heard the public works minister saying that you went to a brand new road. The existing roads have almost the bridges on the one from from Simple Bridge to Topman Bridge. So there are a lot of things that you won't do on that. You're going to overlay the quota, or you're going to the asphalt, or you're going to just do whatever you're going to do. But the bridges are built, the roads is in tight, except for the tie. So the price cannot be the same. So I would like to know the road from Clay to Bowater side. He said it is not yet agreed upon, but you want to include it because you want to be 4 lane. I mean, adding another 2 lane to the road. 95.8 kilometers. That means it's from Simple Bridge to Clay. How much are you going to charge per kilometer? Because that road is almost like non-existent, except for the town you're going to lay on the road.
So I will speak and I'll ask the deputy to go further with the design. It's going to be, like I said, a brand new road because it's going to be a dual carriage, 4 lane. There's new drainage system that's designed. The current drainage system will not be the drainage system that is there, if there's any, because I know currently the road is very deplorable. The bridges, of course, will be reconditioned, but it's going to be a new road because of the geometric design. And I will have the deputy just speak to that.
In terms of cost, it will not be the same.
Yes, of course, it'll be different. So from the deputy speak to that, but let me just continue with this. From Clay to Bowater side, it will be a brand new road also, because we are doing 2 new lanes to add to the existing lane. That the existing Bamajida Highway.
I think that.
I can't 1 minute, Senator.
Simple Bridge to Tottenham.
Yes.
That road is inexistent.
So there's no road. When I say there's no road in terms of the road we want to build, there's no road there now. We know that we're going to move everything. It's going to be a brand new road built. Up to Clay will be dual lane, and from Clay to Tottenham will be single lane, but it will be a brand new road. Everything going to be removed. It's redesigned. Let my deputy speak to the
Senator, so if you look at the road from St. Paul Bridge to Clay, it's we call it single carriage way now, and all the bridges are designed for single carriage. So we have 3 major bridges that we will do to accommodate 4 lane. So all the bridges have to be expanded to be able to, instead of coming in a narrow bridge, everything. So all the 3 bridges will be a major work done to it. So all of the road section have a different road characteristics. So the prices are different. What I mean is that the road will have, the bridge will have to accommodate the road. So the three bridges along the road, Four River Bridge, we have the other bridges, all of them will be expanded to accommodate the full lane.
Because you're going to make use of the bridges that are there.
No worries, Father.
There's a problem in the cost. The reason why I'm pressurizing of saying this, because I am going to definitely pay for the road. You remember that there are 3 toll bridges on that road. If I am coming from Cape Town with Makasawa, I have to pay. I will have to pay to Teni or Sinja, wherever. I have to pay to Clay, and I have to pay to Simba Bridge.
No, we're not. No, Simple Bridge. There will be no toll at Simple. There will be no toll at Simple Bridge.
Okay, so 3, I have to pay. And so I want to know the cost, the actual cost, and I said, well, there'll be value for money. Because if you have a existing bridge on the road, and then you're going to tell me that you're going to build a new bridge, then I want to see that bridge, and the new one is there. So
No, Senator, but Senator, this is what will happen. The existing bridge on the road in that corridor, an existing bridge that will be reconditioned, and then a new bridge built to be able to accommodate for the design of the road. That's what we're saying. Of course, there won't be. Secondly, the design of that road, and the deputy can also we spoke about that. It's going to be completely different because it has to, consider the axle load on that road. Now, we are not very sure that the concessions that are in the Western Belt will be able to do what they're doing. It's very possible that there will be haulage in that corridor to the port. We cannot disprove that. So the design of the road is also going to consider the kind of axle load that will be in that corridor, especially if you open up a full lane on that corridor.
So can you show the design before
Yeah, we have it. We have it. We brought all the design, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I have the microphone. Mr. Chairman, thank you. It's been a privilege working with you and other colleagues on this joint committee to review this concession agreement. And as a Westerner, the senator from Western Liberia, I also would like to open by saying that this concession agreement, once we get it right, is attempting to address the road infrastructure issue in Western Liberia and also Northern Liberia. So we should be the one clapping for this. And we are in support, but we want to make sure that we get it right. And so I want you to take my question in that spirit. And I think that's why we're here for. Mr. Minister of Public Works, you were deputy minister when we did the Banga to Sanayi or Salai, the first phase 1 of the Menakoma Highway, correct?
Yes, when we finalized the, yes.
Yeah. Do you remember the kilometer cost of that road?
I won't remember offhand. I know it was the.
Okay, I was Minister of Finance. If I remember,
I won't remember.
It was $650,000 per kilometer.
Because it was a single, yes, of course, a single layer.
That's fine.
And design as a single layer road.
Okay, so we agree on that. Okay. The total kilometer, the total distance of the contract that is before us, I believe on the page 12 or so, is 255 kilometers, correct?
Plus 38.
Yes. I'm going by what I read.
Yeah, okay. Let's say that.
Okay, so if additional one will come, then maybe we can fix that during our committee discussion, but this contract says 255.
Yes, good. But with categories. But with category, because the 38 is specified as dual lane, and that means it's full lane.
Okay,
that's the interpretation.
So I want to make sure what number are we dealing with? Because my question depends on the number, on the kilometer that we are paving.
We are dealing with 255 kilometers.
Good.
Because that's why it is.
Very good.
Yes.
So, do you agree that if we were to go by the Banga to Salaye baseline at that time, which is 650 per kilometer, and finance minister can come in here, we agree that we can do this road without Pavi Fort? The entire 255 over 5 years without going through this concession, since in fact during all your presentation you haven't told this hearing how Pavi Fort is going to raise the 218 60% of the cost of this road. And I heard you say that the government is not going to issue any sovereign guarantee.
No.
And we haven't heard anything about where they're going to source their money. So we are under the assumption as the legislature, the appropriating body for this country, that perhaps they are going to take the money from somewhere. If they don't have the cash, they will borrow. And there's a cost to borrowing. And that cost will be passed on to our country somehow, some way. And when you look at the 650 per kilometer cost of a project that we have done and we are using, even though it's single lane. But if you look at the 255 kilometer and you look at our contribution of 145 to this project, when you multiply the 650 by 255, the difference is going to be 20 million. I'm sure Liberia can raise 20 million and do this project on its own. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree.
Okay, convince me.
And why I don't agree, Senator, is that the first, let me provide clarity on the Banga Salaye project.
Yeah.
The Banga Salaye project was designed as a single layer and not double layer. That means that corridor was only sealed with the binder codes, and there's no wearing codes. That's why the cost was 650,000 per kilometer. So it's a single layer road, it's not a double layer road. And that's why it's cheap. I'm not actually say cheap, but that's why it is what it is. So if it was a full asphalt road with both the binding and the wearing codes, it would be more than that. It would be about 1.2 million at the time that project was done.
So are you telling me, I'm coming, are you telling me that the road from Banga to Salaye is inferior?
It's a single layer. It's not that inferior, but it's a single layer. That was why it was designed. That's how it was designed. And that's why when we were in Kuwait recently to talk to the Arab donors to come back to the project, I put a case for us to overlay the 81 kilometer when it's complete with a second layer, so that it become a full asphalt road, because of course that will be a key major corridor in terms of transportation. We were to get into Vonjima up to up to Minikoma. So that is the reason why I said I disagreed in terms of the cost, because it's a single layer road. Now, I showed the Minister of Finance.
And the road from across the bridge to Minikoma is going to be double?
From across the bridge to Minikoma? Yes. Yes, where? From Salaye, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because I'm using the Salaye road as a base now.
Yes, it's going to be a
done
full,
it before and it's working, but then this one is
it's going to be a
too
full
much.
asphalt. It's going to be a full asphalt road. And that's why I said in our discussion with the Kuwaitis is that when we start from Salaye up to Konya, which we should start in the next phase, it has to be a double layer and that single layer. The Banga Salaye is a single layer, and that's why it says 650 kilometers. I mean 650 per kilometer, which may seem like cheaper. It's not cheap because it's a single layer road. The question you asked about the finance, I'm sure the Minister of Finance spoke about that. And I'm sure there can be an opportunity for them to speak about how they are going to finance the project. But one of the things we will understand, if we go and contract a loan, like you are suggesting, we cannot, because of the, and I'm sure you're aware, Minister, of the limitation, the fiscal space that we have, our debt sustainability, which you're aware of.
Yeah, but this contract is what Pavi Fort takes to whoever they're going to borrow from.
Yeah, but that is why they can do that, because we cannot do that now. We cannot
No, I
contract.
understand they can do that, but they're taking a contract that we have signed to borrow from a bank, and there's a cost to borrowing in any borrowing situation.
And all the risk is to them. All the risk to them. Yes, we pay some extra money, but all the risk to them. And that is why the contract we structured like that, because over a period of time, the extra cost, we have to pay that because we cannot contract 340 something or 200 million right now because of our fiscal space, which I'm sure, Minister, you are aware. So that's the,
And
that's
that's
the
what I'm
cost of
pushing
it.
back on this, because maybe Myers will come in.
Yeah, he should.
Yes,
He should.
because the project cost is 363.9. We are paying 40%, which is 145. It means that our partner, Private Fort, is going to bring to the table 280 million.
To build a road within 5 years,
Yeah.
if they should,
Yes,
within 5 years to give us 255 kilometers of road.
correct,
That they will have to finance
correct.
over a period in terms of repayment.
Don't you think, as a government, as a country, we should ask how they're going to source that money without exposing us to the risk?
I will refer that to the Ministry of Finance, but I think we did that during the ICC.
I just don't see it in here, that's what I'm asking.
Thank you very much, Senator. And the reason is that some of the information that the minister mentioned, the actual contracts that we will sign with them, we have all the annexes. And again, the contract will be available.
After we approve this, after you're supposed to have everything here. Go ahead, Maya, go ahead.
Okay. But for information purposes, the Private Fort earlier mentioned the summary of shareholder loans. And shareholder loans doesn't necessarily mean shareholders coming up immediately with that amount of money, but they can give us some of their other through recapitalizing their shares when there's a call for cash, or they can give us some of their dividends, or they can agree to take loans that are distributed proportionately.
Mr.
according
Minister,
to
you
the
see that
ratio
the
of their
same
shares.
proposal that Iboma and Eaton proposed to us way back when this Senate rejected it?
No, this is different.
It's different. How is it different?
Okay. Private Fort have, for example, said they already have ongoing contracts. The Deputy Minister, my colleague from Public Works, mentioned their work in Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Gambia. They have pending payments from these contracts. That is portion of their financing.
Combined projects in Gambia and Sierra Leone is below 100 million.
And
It's,
they have also,
50 plus 20, 70 million, far less than what
and
we are
they
giving
have,
them.
and they are also indicated that they're also going to use.
So don't use that to support their payment of this
I
money.
said some. I said part of their sources of funding. And they also indicated, and we have no reason to doubt, that they're going to also go and get financing, which you rightly mentioned. They're going to get financing from other sources. And this doesn't preclude government's ability, like the minister mentioned earlier, from even sourcing the whole amount from the same source or similar sources. But here we are. We have to stay within our debt sustainability ceiling. So that is why if you look at the early years of the project, we are not financing it from debt, but from portion of the road fund. The road fund
Yeah, but
averages,
also we are paying first. So we are the first rate taker. And then
we are paying first.
No, we are not paying first.
We are not paying for it. That is what we bring first. We bring 10 million next year, followed by 16, and followed by 20.
And how much do they bring concomitantly?
Whatever is the annual cost of the project, I have to give the matrix now, but because the project timeline is there, the details can be provided. But presumably 10 million won't be the first year cost. Can I conclude, please, Chairman? Because no, I just want to provide facts on why the government has decided not to go through the debt financing route. the road fund averages between 36 to 40 million a year. But here in 2026, we are only taking 10 million of road fund because the road fund is already committed to other projects. And in 2027, 16 million. So in the third year, we are putting up 20 million. And by the third year or thereabout, portion of the road will begin to generate revenue from toll or operations. That's how the project is designed. So the project, when I say either the project over a lifetime will pay for itself, those are some of the measures.
I have to do this.
So that
I will defer to him. Then I will be finished.
Government.
Mr. Minister, this morning I received the traffic count from the Minister of Transport, which this committee had not been privy to when we first met with the committee and requested. But I did oppose this morning that today is an important hearing, and then people should follow it. He called me, and then he sent me the traffic count. We did the back of the envelope calculation based on the count he sent us. For example, the road from Freeport to Clay, the annual average daily traffic counted was 10,480. The adjusted toll revenue at 25 cents per toll is 5.3 million. The cost of building that road, when you consider that, and then you do the break-even analysis, it's going to take us more than 20 years to pay for that. You're talking about toll. I just wanted to flag that. We will discuss that, but really we need to do further deep diving on due diligence on this concession agreement. Senator, let me just.
I'm not in any way alluding to the fact that the road will be constructed exclusively through toll. My point I'm making is our financing, arrangement, partly by toll and partly through road fund. And then in the third year, going forward, other sources of government financing, by which time we will have reconfigured the long-term use or the medium-term use of the road fund. Because between now and 2028, the road fund is pretty much locked into other projects. That is why we're putting so much of road fund money to this project.
Okay, does it make sense to put the toll in the corridor that get more traffic and then use that to pay for this than to put it in a corridor that has less traffic and more poor people? You know, we want it, but it's going to put extra burden on our people. So, Senator,
social economic calculation that we all need to take collectively.
Well, first, just so I have the strength to partake in this forum from a financial standpoint, Honorable Chairman Bizarri, just before I have the strength to take part in this hearing, I would love first for the chairman the chairman for the PPCC to just tell whether this document is in compliance.
Honorable Chair, and the distinguished senators, to answer your question, the document is in compliance.
Yes, just how did you? So no objection was done. Okay. The testimony, I just need the testimony. I can proceed now.
PPCC chair. According to your letter, I think dated March 18 last year or this year, you approved 317 million without Mericoma and Tuvojima. What you approve. We see
medical man to Vojima come in the mix without your approval. They say it's in compliance.
So let me ask, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, we received a communication from the Minister of Public Works. They were acting on section 1
What did the
of the
communication
PPCC. Mr. Chairman, I'll come to your question. This is a work in progress. I'll come to your question. The request said, or more or less for single source, and I also received a cabinet resolution.
Which rules? Which rules? What was the request to you?
The request to me was
Be
for,
specific, your honor oath. What was the request?
the
Which
request to
road,
me,
which road corridors were requested and for how much?
the request to me was for road from Freeport to Clay, Clay to Bow Waterside, Clay to Todmabray, Sanjay to Vanjaman, Vanjaman to Wanakoma,
There was no Brewerville to.
and I have Medina to Robertsport.
No
I'm coming to phase 2. Medina to Robertsport, Broadway to Bapulu.
For how much?
In the cost of the total
The
amount.
request, yeah, the one you approved.
The dollar value,
You know, letter,
the dollar value was 370, 817,367 million dollars.
so how did we come to 255? And what was your involvement? No,
The reliance for our action or based upon the cabinet resolution in section 1 A, concession may be granted on a sole source basis only upon determination by cabinet. And the cabinet had the resolution sent to us, our reliance for this. It's in the act. No, not a minister request, it's based upon, no, I responded based upon the request came to me along the cabinet. The request came to me based upon the government
you have a
entity.
copy of the letter you wrote.
I do have the
Read it
entity.
to us, yeah.
The entity responsible for this minister, the Senator, is the Minister of Public Works.
Okay, read the letter you wrote.
On March 8, 2025, Honorable Roland Giddings, Minister of Public Works, dear Honorable Giddings, request no objection to single source the PPP arrangement with private port I associate for the upgrade of 313 kilometers of selected main primary roads in 4 counties. We present our compliments and wish to acknowledge receipt of the communication requesting the commission approval as indicated above. The commission, after a thorough review of the documentation submitted through, yet grants the Minister of Public Works approval of this.
Not cabinet.
Can I finish reading, Minister? Grants the Minister of Public Works approval for its request for no objection to single source Department Port AI associated through a PPP arrangement for the upgrade of 313 kilometers of selected main primary roads in 4 counties at an estimated cost of $370,817,367 United States dollars for the fiscal year 2025. To this end, it is important to state that this approval is based on a resolution from the cabinet dated January 13, 2025. You see the resolution of the cabinet in email communication. However, the commission requests the minister to provide a copy of the concession certificate and a detailed proposal from the concessionary, including the beneficiary owner information. Finally, the Public Procurement Concession Commission admonishes and deems it as a priority as they remain compliant with the PPCA 2010 as we jointly aspire to achieve transparency, accountability, fairness, equity, and ultimately public confidence in our procurement and concession processes.
So the minister's letter to you didn't have the corridor for you to medical.
Say that again?
The minister's letter to you, he listed the roads he needed.
Yeah, basically.
There was no medical to Bojima in that letter. We had.
It was there. I don't have a copy of that before my
I
results.
saw it. I know what I'm talking about. We had Brewerville to Bopulu there. Babapia to Bopulu. We had Tomabora to Bopulu. Somewhere along the way, there was taken out.
Wow.
There was no approval from you. Then say you compliant.
No, but Senator, our communication based upon what,
Daddy, I was really concerned because that's where I get my desire to get involved in the debate, the legal
No,
aspect first. So, be that as it may, I listened to the Minister of Finance in relation to the financing. Even though I'm still confused on page, I would say, on page 3 of the Minister of Public Works presentation, in terms of the repayment, there you can look there. For the concessionaire contribution to private financing. Talking about financing for shareholder loan, 63 million in 2026 to 43 million by 2029. I don't understand. Is it that every year they will be making the money, paying the money, or is it that it's going to drop? If 63 plus 45, that is about 108, I guess, minimized. It means that is far below what we will be paying as a government. So I don't know what the calculation is trying to see. That's just one. Two, if we are to spend 46 million cash spread across 2026 to 2028 as a government, and 100 million as a payment for bond interest bearing, is that, are we going to sell the bond out or domestic? If we want to increase domestic debt, and we are complaining about domestic debt, I need to understand from the Minister of Finance, is there going to be an increment to the domestic debt? 100 million from government payment of bond. Beyond that point, taking the road fund of 46 million to give to this company in the PPP, is it not a violation of the road fund law? Because I'm reading something here, it makes no provision except where government trying to survey a loan. Because if we are sharing the cost with the company, if the company is now fully taking responsibility of the project and we are sharing with them, then I see the problem. I can just reapportion that in terms of rehabilitation and improvement works, including pavement of road to the maximum of 40% of its annual revenue only through servicing of loan approved by the government. That's when you want to use the road fund at that level, only through servicing of loan. So in my mind, it means that this company should be to take full control. It means put all the money in and we start to service the financing. That's what we can use the road for that purpose. I think the intent was to ring fence the road fund and then use it to be able to leverage. But if we'll be taking out 46 million in 3 years, about 16 million or 14 million a year to be giving it as our share to the company, it means we are not servicing the loan. That's what I'm seeing here, because we are putting in investment. Then they themselves will be using their shareholder or loan, as they call it, which we need to see the detail and the facts, because it's going to affect financial taxation, because they're going to the cost of the loan going to reduce their income. So we need to be clear. We cannot be assuming that they're going to do it their way, they're going to do it their way, because there is a cap in terms of what we allow in taxation for corporate income tax. We don't want a similar situation here. I don't remember saying that. We don't want a situation where the company come in and they tell us that we have borrowed at the cost. Even though we say we're not giving sovereignty and whatever the case is. Yes, but if we don't know how they are borrowing, how they are financing, it will affect their income statement, and indirectly it will affect our revenue of the country. That's what I'm concerned about, how they're going to finance it. It can be an assumption. And then secondly, how you're going to address, are we going to amend the Road Fund Act to make you to do this one? Because the Road Fund Act has a limit at which you can use this money. And also the bond, are we increasing domestic debt? I need to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. To some extent, you made a point that we made in our opening statement. So, to be a bit clearer, let me start with the road fund commitment for the first 3 years. We are not taking road fund money to give to the company as such. In 2026, we bring 10 million, they bring 60. In 2027, we bring 16 million, they bring 60. In 2028, we bring 20 and they bring 50. So the amount that coming out of the road fund is our share of the construction cost for each year. And again, in other areas of the contracts, the concession agreement that we can make the reference specifically, government has flexibility in terms of sources of finance. So the road fund, at the time of this discussion, was the sure stream of funds that we can allude to. But it doesn't limit our ability to contribute to a single source. We may even decide that in the coming year, we completely leave the road fund out and take any available resources that are available to us. So the contract doesn't ban the government, or it doesn't garnish, in essence, the road fund. I think I made that point more than once before. Because we already know that the road fund is tied to several other projects across the country in the medium term. Take, for example, the financing for the equipment and accessories for road maintenance in the next 3 to 4 years. It comes from the road fund. We took account of that. In terms of the, what was the next question you said, please?
No, so I was going to
Issue of you sourcing $100 million from bonds. I don't know whether I've seen somewhere here on the presentation, government payment bond interest bearing 2 years on the presentation of the minister in terms of GL contribution commitment.
Okay, so again, like the road fund, that's just another option. But my colleague who is in charge of debt management will speak to the details on why you see that.
Thank you so much, Senator. You asked the right question. One of the things that we saw clearly in this discussion was to see what are their sources of funding, and we went ahead to look at your investment across the region. And one security that we put in this agreement is to ensure that we actually relieve Liberia government of all liability from the contracting party. So in this case, we have a provision that says government of Liberia has exclusive rights. Even if there's a default on this guy to provide the funding at the time, where the government have funding, we can go ahead and do the work. And in this case, because this company is both providing financing and also is a construction company. So government can have the right to provide the financing and they do the construction as well. That's one side, it's now part of the analysis we did here. In terms of the bond, we said clearly that no, we're not going to use that as a liability. We're not going to take any responsibility from government. That's the reason why we also put in the clause to say other sources, it could be grant, it could be loan, concessional loan that we can find anytime to make sure that we finance this project so that we can meet up with the timeline. I think the only thing that is looking confusing here that you're asking the question on is that the company, wherever they source their money from, and where they source their money from is actually part of their liability that you got to bear. The only thing that there is that in terms of the contract, let's say the toll usage, where we say in this case now, the return on this investment, we have to share it. They cannot carry higher percentage, and where we reduce their share on the return on the investment. But we are not taking responsibility. The government has no liability to this investment.
So in effect, if their annual payments to their creditors exceeds their share of whatever revenue we generate, they have no bearing on us. They have to pay for their loans out of their share of the total revenue. So government is more or less intended for our criminals against their liabilities.
Chairman.
Stay on the floor, Chairman, please. Just so I can just say, Chairman, I beg you follow up. Oh,
so
no, you just said something. I don't want to beg you, Chairman, please. I have a fear, and the reason I'm asking the question, and I will carry you back to the 54 legislation. Yes, on East International.
Okay, so I'm not Senator Dopo, Senator Sajoseph, Senator Babila, Senator Chia, and Senator Joey.
Yeah, so I can continue now.
Yeah,
So, Chair, my concern, and I just want to open up so we can look at the story of East. We did a screen financial engagement here, and we swapped from East to East, but in a different way. Okay, East in the community to East on the highway, and the money went up. Before we realized East could not raise the money, we have a company that paid $20 million to the government. We don't know up to now whether we have adjusted the books on the transaction, because if we make an upfront payment, okay, obviously you have to change the narrative of the transaction in terms of interest. Okay, so if you are saying to us that yes, if the guy default, we will come in with a construction company, we need to see something where there's a schedule that says that if we get in, this interest rate going to drop. Because if we get in, what's happening? The guy's going to pay 60% and going to pay 40%. You cannot pay 60% and not pay 60% over. It means that the sharing ratio will have to adjust. So those kind of spreadsheets we need to see it and the payment along the way, because we are afraid that we may likely be the one funding for the sake of independent day. The independent company who want to be she, they put government money in it. So thank you. That's my point.
Thank you. Let me say thanks to you guys for the process of arranging the opportunity for roads in our country. The cell roads we're talking about, there are roads that will help the country, help the citizens. But I'm concerned. Why are we overloading this company with all of those work? We are giving those numbers of kilometers of roads to this company with approximately 10 years experience, coming to give them those number of kilometers to do and look at the distances. What's the capacity like? And we as the legislature, we even through the committee, we want to see some of the work that they have done. But I feel that we are overloading this company with all of those roads. How they're going to be working from St. Paul Bridge to Clay, working in Lofa at the same time from Blue Waterside. Look at them, where they come from, Sierra Leone. When they were constructing a road, one road they gave it to two companies. And they signed agreement with them to work 24 hours, all day, all night. They gave them timelines. To the point that they tell them you have to stay in the towns and villages where you're constructing the roads. That's what it is. So why are we overloading this company? So that they should do all of those roads. Why?
So let me, Senator, thank you for the question. Let me speak to that, and I won't think it's overload. The Ministry of Public Works, which is the technical ministry, did due diligence. In fact, there was an unsolicited intent from this company to the government. And in that process, we did what you call a non-binding MOU with them to do feasibility studies. And they did full feasibility studies on this corridor. After that, they presented that to the team at Public Works. We presented that also to the cabinet. And what we did is to initiate a due diligence to look at the capacity. And that's why you see there was a question from the chairman to the PPCC on the change in the amount of kilometer. When we did the due diligence, we had a team that was led by the Deputy Minister for Technical Services to Sierra Leone, to Guinea, and to the Gambia to see the works that they are doing and to look at the model of construction. There are construction companies that also subcontract other companies to do work that they have. And I think Paverford has shown that they have the capacity to behave in that way. So you could be Paverford today, but you could be doing 2 or 3 contracts by subcontracting other companies to work on your behalf. That's the kind of model that they use.
So you have a clause in the country, in the agreement that they can subcontract.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so who are those companies going to be subcontracted?
Well, again, until we get to finalize, they don't have a concession yet. But of course, we will have to also do due diligence on the company that they will subcontract if they need be. But let me also
in
say
order
that-
for them to subcontract, what's the standard that you give them? The kind of company that they can subcontract to?
Where
Because you took them based on the profile or what you have seen that they have done, but you don't know the history of companies that they're going to be subcontracting.
Yeah, but let me also say that if we did due diligence on the company, to the point that you, the senators now, ratify that this company has the capacity to do so.
No, we have not ratified.
No, I'm saying if you do, I said if you do.
So do you want us to do it?
Of course we want you to do.
No. We cannot do it because we are asking those hard questions. We are telling you, you are overlooking this particular company. This is a 10-year-old company in Sierra Leone, in the country, Sierra Leone, where they have worked. There are other companies that work there, and they tell them, give them time frame to work.
And it was a day $20
You
million
understand?
project.
So you can do that.
And so let me conclude on this. And so Senator, I will say again that because of that, the first request was for 467 kilometers. It came down to 3. When we okay.
What is it? Okay,
No, I'm waiting for that. and so when we came, of course, we have to present to the IMCC set up by the president. And the IMCC also worked with us and looked at the capacity submitted, and we agreed that
What's the maintenance plan?
255
What's the maintenance plan after construction? I stay on the floor.
maintenance plan after construction is there.
How many years?
In fact, what they will do
How many years,
after the
Minister?
first 10 years, there will be a full overlay of the corridor. After the first, after 20 years, there will also be an overlay. That is, the work that is done will be refreshed. Let me say it that way, according to the maintenance plan. Construction period is for 5 years, but it's a 25-year concession. So over 25 years, there'll be maintenance in the corridors that they work on. But construction is for 5 years. Yes, at the same cost. There's not going to be any change. For 25 years, they're going to maintain those corridors and do what they should do. After 10 years, they'll go back and overlay the
Mr. Have you
corridor.
done feasibility study? How many towns and villages will be affected?
We did a full study. The study is here. There's a
What's
full
your plan?
study.
What's your plan for them, for those towns and
We
villages?
got resettlement there. So people who property, people who livelihood will be affected by the project, will be resettled. There's a $4.7 billion in the project for resettlement in these corridors. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we do due diligence, make a follow-up to those.
But let me also just refer to the Justice Minister to speak on something.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, colleagues. I'm glad that some of the concerns I have been clarified because I was a little confused about the 2 versus 4 lane from from Clay to Bowater Star. But my understanding now is that there will be 2 new lanes and the existing 2 lanes will be maintained. That's good news for the people of Cape Mount. I also had a concern that Senator Sarah Joseph talked about the issue of the subcontractors. Well, it's good that you addressed that very well because we are talking about from western to northern Liberia with different corridors, and then one company having that contract that being a concern. So I wanted to initially, in fact, I think I should also ask whether these roads, these corridors, the road were going to start simultaneously. Whether Cape Mount Road will be going on, Bomi Road going on, Manicoma Road going on.
It is our intent that the corridors will start simultaneously, working with the contractor to do so. And that is why if you look at the upfront commitment to the first year, should be 60 million, and then we should do 10. So it's about $70 million you're putting into the project by next year. That can, of course, see the 3 corridors being affected by that. Yes, that is our intent.
And that intent will be translated into the contract?
Yeah, the contract, when the contract is developed, yes. It's in the concession.
Yes, because you were consulting, now I'm waiting.
Yes.
Thank you. So
That's
that will be
it,
stated clearly in the contract.
Yes.
Another thing is that the work will start together.
Simultaneously.
Simultaneously.
That's not why in the concession agreement, certain roads will be done first before certain ones. Clearly in the concession agreement. So we'll talk about it.
You don't have that agreement yet before you.
I have an agreement before me.
Every time you say there will be another, that's what we do.
No, we'll put a meeting in the concession agreement. The one who will sign will be based on the concession agreement, not on their own.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I still have the floor. So we discussed maintenance, and I like the fact that maintenance is considered in the concession. But until today, I didn't get an understanding. I believe many people who are not engineers, they didn't understand the specific of the Banga Salaye Road. So once we see AFAC, we think it's AFAC. Over several years, since in the 1980s, the Daewoo company built the Bamagida Highway, and that road is considered as one of the best in this country, as far as my recollection. So we are going back in that same corridor or in the same region with this new project. I will say that this particular road will be up to that standard, because today you say the other one is a single layer, this is a double layer. I need to understand how that would be.
It's going to be a full asphalt road. That means double layer, both the binding and the wearing coats as a full asphalt road. The intent, of course, is that it will meet all standards. And of course, my deputy can just speak to the design that is done. The design is in line with international standard. We will provide the supervision required. In fact, we have stated that besides Public Works, there will be an independent consultant to make sure the project is supervised to ensure quality assurance. Because if it is, which will be a major highway, it's a major highway, it's a regional road. In fact, that road will be a part of what we call the Trans-West African Highway. So it has to meet ECOWAS standard. It has to meet the standard required. So we're definitely going to make sure there's quality assurance.
Thank you. Then we come to, this is a major investment in our region. 364 million is no small money that's going to be in that northwestern region. I am glad that the company is coming out of Sierra Leone, because regionally we have to be able to support each other. But I'm concerned about job creation and job for the young people of our region. Given the porous nature of our borders, the closeness, how are we going to hold the company responsible to employ to the extent that our people have the capacity to employ Liberians so that they can benefit from jobs created by this investment? So that all our Salon people, my family people, Senator Sir Joseph family people, Bodo Kane family people can take the job from Cape Martinez and
So Senator, let me, of course, Senator, the local content is being considered in this. In fact, right now, there's a law that was passed by this legislature for the ALCC, the Association of Liberian Construction Company. We are enforcing that law now. And that law states that 25% of works, whether the financing is from on budget or financed by a multilateral or a bilateral partner to invest in the road sector, 25% of the works should be given to a Liberian company. So we are now enforcing that on the project from Toastown to Zreju, the 85 kilometer, the project from Kilibo to Johns David Town and up to Zreju. We're insisting, and we've written the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the European Union, to be aware that projects that you finance, 25% of those projects will be given to a Liberian company with the capacity to do so. So that first thing, and so that if this is ratified, we have to also do same. That means a Liberian company will have to be given 25% of whatever work they do wherever, besides giving jobs to individual people or individual youths within the corridor. So there's two components to that, to a company and also, of course, enforcing the employment of Liberians in these corridors. That will be done because we're already beginning to enforce it.
Thank you, President. Okay. President, thank you. I think when the Justice Ministry rep, when the Justice Ministry rep wanted to speak, he said he would wait for the judiciary chairman. Okay. Mr. Chairman, thank you again. I was just saying that you intimated when the Justice Ministry representative wanted to speak that you should wait for the Judiciary Committee. I'm here, Senator Jala, this year. And so I'm sure most of the questions address the financial and technical aspects of the concession. And so ours would be on the legality of the section. And Minister of Justice, Mokamo, you're aware that one or two of the contentious issues in contract execution and the mechanism. I just wanted to ask first whether the Ministry of Justice has sufficient time to look at this conception, the proper, in terms of looking at the performance, the capacity of the contractor to perform, the timeline for performance, adhering to the concessions, adhering to local laws, the financial model, and all of these. Have you done all of that?
Thank you, Honorable Senator. Yes, indeed. Like indicated earlier, MOJ, the Ministry of Justice, is part of the IMCC. And we've always been in all the IMCC settings, whether be it the minister proper or me or a representative from the ministry. If you went through this instrument before you, sufficient safeguards were incorporated in the pre-commencement activity, the condition precedent, the issue of the financial close or financial model. They are required even before anything can move on once the thing is done. My colleagues continually spoke about a contract to be drawn. out of this agreement, this concession, if it is ratified before the commencement of anything, there are the drawing that we keep speaking to, or the technical experts here be talking about, the design. Those are preliminary design. A detailed design supposed to be drawn. By then, the assumption is that we have our owner's engineer who has the requisite expertise to also advise us. So sufficient safeguards are here. I also wanted to talk about the issue, it was raised earlier, about subcontracting. This contract.
No, my question did not go there.
Yeah, no, just I'm
on.
on.
You can come back probably.
If I have not addressed your question, then I can say continue. Yes,
so
participated.
if you have done that, what's the choice of law for this contract?
Liberia. Fortunately, if you look at the arbitration provision, arbitration is supposed to be venue here in Liberia, unlike many agreements.
So what the mechanism arbitration?
We're using the ancestral rule.
Ancestral rule.
Yes, but the venue is here.
I'm using ancestral rules.
Yes, the venue
not Liberian law.
This contract is governed by Liberian law. The contract is governed by Liberian law.
Ancestral rules are not Liberian law.
It's arbitration. Arbitration. But the contract is
not going to use Liberian law.
Honorable Senator,
if you go to arbitration, ancestral rules will be used. And I saw that, yes, in the contract.
If you allow me to just speak, sir, I will hardly be grateful to you.
Thank you.
This contract is governed by Liberian laws. Its interpretation, enforcement is governed by Liberian law. This contract and other concessions similar, if the choice of arbitration is preferred or is chosen, generally, because of the value of the contract, the preferred destination is The Hague or London used as the seat. But in this case, we insisted, and fortunately, we got our way. We said, look, we can use the applicable ancestral law, but the venue should be here. We should be applauded for that. Yes. The contractor agreed to that. This is a huge volume of contract. Their exposure is 218 million.
But, Councillor.
Yes, sir.
I'm just bringing the point that, yes, indeed, the choice of law, the Liberian law, or constitutional rules, and not Liberian law.
Specific to arbitration. As specific to arbitration. You're quite aware as a lawyer, arbitration proceedings are different from regular litigation.
Absolutely.
Fine. So that's why. Do we have I have served as an arbitrator before under our commercial code. Do we have the expertise in Liberia? Do we have a system here that govern arbitration in Liberia, minus our commercial code that was established? No. Investors as such are not inclined to even agree to have a forum Liberia chosen as the venue. But in this case, we succeeded in having that. Check most of the concessions around here.
So the point I'm making, Mr. Minister, is that the choice of law is Liberian law, right?
Agree.
Was arbitration you use on central rules.
Just the rule.
If you inform the committee that of the intricacies of all of these things I'm talking about.
We had discussion in this and they were properly guided.
Because that's where I started from.
INCC was properly guided.
Because let me tell you, it's easy to explain the way you face. But when it comes to arbitration, it's a completely different ballgame. Completely different ballgame. Are they aware that the non-Liberian laws will be used at arbitration? Are they aware of that?
Rule, not law.
No,
rule.
I'm not saying
on several rules.
Yes, but
it's different from the law. The application of the law is Liberian law. It's Liberian law that governs the contract.
But when you go to arbitration, that will use Liberian law.
Let me give you an example.
Let me guess. I can't take up too much time. So how will any arbitral award be enforced? Will it be through our courts or through the international judicial system?
Liberian law applies. If an award is awarded, the enforcement of the judgment will be through our court.
Will be through our court.
Yes, it's the law. It's our law that applies. The only distinction is the rule. I mean, if you went to if you get a contract, general contract, forget about international contract, as we often do as
No,
lawyers.
international contract.
I'm giving an instance. No, I'm giving an instance.
No, please, that's fine. Let's say international
Sir,
contract.
sir, it's good to have an appreciation of this thing. You
No,
and I,
international contract. So we'll give international contract example.
okay, an international contract executed between an entity and Liberia, and you use Liberia, you choose, you elect to use arbitration, and it is venue at a commercial court. The principle of that, is it the civil procedure
Is
principle?
it Liberia a member, a party to the New York Convention?
I'm talking about. Sir,
Is it Liberia? Why you say that? And the application are different. All right? So when come to that, you're talking about New York Convention, there's a party state. And there's a party state.
Liberia has ceded to a lot of conventions, I agree. Yes. Yes. Liberia has ceded to a lot of conventions. But if a concessionaire agrees to use our forum, we should celebrate that. Not often that is done here in our country. You can check the tons of concessions agreement that we have. How many in this volume? You have 5,000 agreements around here that is venue to the UK. Today, yeah.
That choice of, by that using choice of law. Okay,
fortunately, this contract is governed by our law, and the venue, in case of if there should be any arbitration, as done by default, each party is entitled to select an arbitrator. The ICC will appoint the head. That's the rule. Each party is entitled to select an arbitrator. The third arbitrator generally is nominated or appointed by the two chosen arbitrators. But there are instances where the party elect to have the international body appoint the third arbitrator who chairs the arbitration. So this is what is applicable as provided for.
Transnational contract. So please take the time to look at it, and maybe the next time you come back, we might have different perspective. And please advise the committee of all of the implications for arbitration, foreign arbitration, and like you say, central rule, and find the New York Convention to arbitrate war. Let it be aware so that tomorrow they don't.
Thank you, sir, Honorable Chairman of the Judiciary, Honorable Chair of the Committee. If I could, since I'm on the floor, if I could just talk briefly about the subcontracting. Generally, contract as such permits subcontracting, but does it mean, the question to ask, that because you are the main contractor, you subcontracted someone, are you absolved of your responsibility? No. Those safeguards are enshrined in here. You are held, because the subcontractor, if they are delinquent or deficient, you are liable under this agreement. You are completely liable. So those safeguards are enshrined in here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not an expert when it comes to procurement, but I know generally that whenever an institution is giving single source, there are certain impetus or motivation that might have been taken place and considered before you can be giving that single source. Probably they look at your transparent history and your verifiable expertise. Then they give it to you. They look at your work history. I want to believe that we are now talking about Perry Ford as a corporate contractor because the level of where they did in Kenema, where they have an incomplete road, and the road 2023 that was built got potholes all on it. I want to believe people see look at that. Is that what brought together the road they did in Kenema? Did you see here in Sierra for 20 million? Is that the impetus of motivation that made you to say, look, you're taking a contract in Liberia for 300 million? Question.
The answer to your question
Honorable Senator so the Minister of Public Works did a mistake. Became the public departments. So the answer to the question is no.
But that I understand that you did not look at the road in Kelema, right?
No, I did not.
Okay, but you just feel
It
that.
doesn't require the procurement, but the Minister of Public Works presented all the feasibility studies. We received the cabinet resolution. It's very good. It's people have a question, but we don't, I didn't go look at Roy Kenema to make our decision, no.
Okay.
Answer the question, no.
No, but look, it's single soil, you must look at the fact, okay.
The reason why single soil is not based on me going to look at roads, but look at the provision in the law.
Okay, so, all right. What's the law?
The law says section 1 of the act says when the cabinet can determine that for civil social division, so the cabinet resolution was sent to us based upon cabinet resolution.
I did a particular process of residing here. You know, normally when people give people single source, some of those things are due to your financial potency. You got money here to do the work.
Not necessarily.
So, I'm talking, please have quiet, please. Okay, all right. Something that people look at and say all the time. Okay. So now your financial competency, you have money, you are potent financially. So they give you the contract, single source, because you come to do it for us. We don't need to put money in. I want to believe one thing area that you look at is the opulence of Perry Ford. They are able to do anything. They don't have to go borrow money looking for a bank here and there. You know, they got money. And you know, so they're getting single source. They are Liberian company. They don't have anything. They're not able to get money from anywhere. So who rally around the Liberian company that could do the web. Same Perry Ford from Sierra Leone. They got a lot of money. They are opulent. They are affluent. We give them this work so they can go ahead. But now we're hearing that, you know, we were getting 146 million and they will get it a month because they're not having the money. Maybe when they pay them, instead of looking for a work, unfinished work, 20 million without work that they will not finish. The money that will come from there or the one they do in Gambia, we never finish. No, let me go ahead, please. Or the 50 million that they do in Gambia. Well, is it that because they have money that will make you think that they single source the project, that single source no company do, that you do bidding process, that they will do the contract because they have money. Because when I was in the executive, I remember we get single source because you got money, you can't do the work, don't give you do it. Then they don't start paying you. What money is that because they have money or because they will borrow money, they don't want to be able to take money from?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah, it's for any of you.
Well, Senator, let me address that, and I would leave the piece that has to do with the due diligence that was done by the Deputy for Technical Services, so he can provide that they went on the due diligence in the Sierra Leone, in Guinea and Gambia. But like I said initially during my presentation, it was an unsolicited intent by Pebble told the Liberian government that had interest in investing in the road sector using a PPP model. And of course, we all know if it's a PPP model, the government has to also contribute to that particular arrangement. And so it's not that Pebble had all the money. That is why we did what we did. They came with a proposal that they can bring some money to start the project. And of course, we had to also contribute to that. And that's why if you look at the distribution, we do 10 million, they do 60 million next year. And that arrangement will show that they invest what they say they will invest. Because we bring our money that we should bring into the basket. But I will leave Senator the due diligence with the Deputy for Technical Services. He led the team to see what Private has done in these different countries. Yeah, we'll talk about all. You'll talk about all.
Senator, when we went on the due diligence, let's say we went with the mind with 467 kilometers concession certificate that we received from the Ministry of Finance. And we went to see the books of this company, the amount of work they've done, and their liquidity in terms of equipment and personnel. And quite frankly, Senator, I said part of the reason why we're a little bit skeptical is because we see Sierra Leone. And if we had said, oh, maybe this company went to Europe or America, I don't think certain questions will be asked in here. And I don't think also that, I believe that only Africans can build Africa.
Excuse me. To look at us and tell us that there is no Africanness in us. If we hear Euro, we data and we can easily don't look at NFI is an affront to us.
I apologize, Senator. And so, as a Liberian, I was very jealous of this company, that we don't have any company in our country that was doing so well as a 10-year-old company that the Senator Joseph talked about. Their organization, the amount of equipment they had, the amount of contracts they were doing with the Sierra Leonean government, the Guinean government, the Gambian government, the amount of work they were doing for the African Development Bank, the amount of work they were doing for the Islamic Development Bank, Badia, and I was amazed. And I started digging further, on where they're getting that money from. But of course, that was not my area of expertise to start checking their money part. But as far as technical expertise, as far as equipment, as far as the personnel, that I saw that very clearly. Their performance in Sierra Leone, we met with the Sierra Leone Road Authority. We met with the Ministry of Works in Sierra Leone. We met with their road fund. Similarly, we went to Guinea. We met with Ager Roads. And we went to Gambia. We met with the Gambia National Authority. And all of them, in terms of their performance,
I see gentleman said 20-kilometer road in Ghana that was done, and then it's been destroyed.
the 20 kilometer, the road they have doing in Kenema that we assess is a neighborhood road, and that work is still ongoing. What part of what we have from the Southern Roads Authority, they're doing a 26-kilometer road in the neighborhood in Kenema, and we saw that going on. They're doing a 261-kilometer road in Kabbalah, in Sierra Leone. We assess that, and that is being done in the same fraction of what we're about to do for 255 kilometers. They're doing the same thing in Sierra Leone. They're doing a 3x3 lane road for about 29 kilometers in Guinea, paid by the government of Guinea. And in fact, they're giving them a bond, that they went and discount at UBA. We verify all of those things. And they told us, they showed our cash flow that they will start their initial investment for about 38 million, which they will start as soon as they get ratification. So I don't know about the Kenema.
Can you give us a copy of your due diligence report? No, you're not saying that. We're Pretoria, please. Yes. We're Pretoria. Okay, that you saw. So, follow. Okay, let me end my follow-up. Excuse me. Come on. Let me guys on my last question. You talk about the equipment that you saw. You talk about equipment. You saw the equipment. That was good. So we are going to get a detail free. And I lay in the contract, there's a $79 million worth of equipment that you working.
Yes, when we assess the equipment, they have about 443 equipment run around various types of equipment with a personnel of about 1,700, which about 70% are all professional staff. And some of the things that I'm concerned about, they got a lot of Ethiopians engineers, and we said, look, we got to get some Liberian engineers also as part of this team. So yes, as far as the financial model that is, they said 75 million will, as part of this amount, 79 million will be an investment in equipment. So whether they already have the equipment, they bring in that equipment across the border, it's part of their investment. And that's why they quantify as 79 million will go towards equipment.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Let me just,
It's inclusive of the 363.9 million.
Big up to you, I will buy equipment for the Big up to me, you will buy equipment to come in.
It's a value.
Mr. Chairman.
They have equipment that's not getting the contract. Ending the contract based on what we have seen.
You have capacity, yeah.
We have seen the capacity.
So the amount there is just a value of what will go towards equipment, but it's the same cost. It's just like we say, okay, 35% of that money will go towards
look at the financial
bitumen.
model, how they want to spend the money. But not look at the financial model. Okay, thank you, Chair. I have a specific question on costing, but let me just start my information with a little bit of clarification. Under Liberia concession, this Liberia Civil Procedure Law, Section 44, allows for arbitration. However, the important thing and the tricky thing about arbitration is not so much of where you have it, but what rule is invoked in the agreement. Now, having said that, you chose the PPP, the triple P method. Is it a novelty? Is that a financial model that is going to govern all of the road concession, or that just these corridors? I will have a follow-up to that.
Well,
Is this a model that is governing road construction now in Liberia? And it will continue here after, or just for this or this particular concession?
Let me say no. But what we try to introduce the PPP because over the last 20 years, all the investment in the road sector has been done by bilateral and multilateral financing. And we realize that there have been a lot of preconditions. Of course, interest rate may be low, but a lot of preconditions, and sometimes there are a lot of delay in disbursement and some of the procedure for constructing our roads. They failed. Besides that, currently we can see that there is a dry out in official development system worldwide now, even with the World Bank and other banks to say that. So we thought looking into private financing is a key way to speed the investment in the road sector. So the PPP is a model that we've introduced. And let me also say, Senators, this is not the first and not the last. We have other PPP models that we'll be introducing on some of our roads to make sure we can move faster to pave the roads as we require to do so. And let me also say that we've had out of 13,000 kilometers, if we still want to pave just 8,000 kilometers, only 1,300 kilometers paved. We are lacking behind. The sector has to move faster. And so the PPP model has been introduced. This is not the first, and this will not be the last concession of such. Yes.
My concern about the PPP at this point in time is that it's pregnant with hardship for our people, especially those who are going to be at the toll booth you're going to introduce. It will have financial impact on transportation, cost of bank goods and services. We have bilateral relations with governments. No matter what happens, if the United States cancels the usage assistance, we can still get from other, benevolent countries. But I don't have a problem with this. But the PPP by itself is as one of our experts was saying earlier, the private funding nature has a high cost to apply, and it's going to bring up a more hardship. I don't care how we look at it. But if this is the best you could do at this time to give us a road, then we need to look into it. But again, we can tie up. We don't want to have a loose opening of this concession for you to go, and we should have a time limit. If the concession is ratified today, when will your contract be consummated? And when will this thing begin? We need to have a timetable. Because I do not see the development, the financial development outlay for this concession to see, based on the tool, what is going to happen, how it's going to be, and all of that.
So it's a big issue for our people, the hardship.
Okay,
Are
so
we
no,
gonna address the hardship?
it's there, the model is in there in terms of the toll, but let me also say on the toll, maybe Liberia is one of the only countries now that don't have toll system. All the countries move towards that to build their roads, to maintain their roads. And I'm pleased to also say we are now developing the toll policy. The toll will be instituted. We already have ways of raising money for investment in our road through the road fund. The law is passed already. In the road fund law, toll is a source. We have to trickle that. So we will do it at a minimum level that will not impact negatively, but the economic benefit in terms of raising money through the toll system to reinvest in other roads will be, it's going to multiply than what you think in terms of how our people will be negatively affected. I don't want to think so, but we need to continue with this, and toll system introduction will be something we want to do. I will also say that we even think about introducing toll on the other corridors that we already paid, like the corridor for Real to Banga, like the corridor now for Ganta to Zwerju, and for Zwerju to Maryland. We're going to put toll system on those roads because they're going to increase the revenue we need to invest, especially from domestic resource mobilization. There will be increment in the resources for investment in other roads.
In closing, Mr. Chair, in closing, you said you alluded to two-lane road. When you come out of Parliament, you said two-lane, right?
Yes.
Now, I see you marking houses on the three-lane road to bring them down.
Where?
When you go to Kolahong, coming from Foya, Kolahong, all the way to Parliament, there are a lot of houses that were marked there. I have one house there, but I don't mind. I can bear it.
Yes. So
you have the same two-lane road, but you're marking the same houses on the.
yeah, we have to be able to preserve the right of way. You see what happened with the other corridors down that we are about to expand, like the RIA. When the RIA road corridor was done, the Somalia Drive, which is the Japan Freeway, we didn't protect the right of way. So when we're about to expand the road, we have to go back and pay for resettlement. So we have to do that now. And that resettlement we're doing the corridor will be to preserve the right of way. That just in case we want to expand the road, maybe in the next 20, 30 years, the right of way should be preserved. So yes, we mark those houses to market in that corridor. Luckily for this project, there's resettlement. So we'll break it down and we'll pay for it. But it's there.
No follow-up bitches. Yeah, Mr. Minister, in your presentation, you said the contracts are essential to the region. What is the fate of Bapolu County? Let me ask that first question.
So let me emphasize that question. Can we add a corridor railway to Bobolu Seke within the same cost? Where were you originally?
No, we can't. When we did the due diligence, we established, and even working with IMCC, that private for capacity now, with what they're doing in Sarah and other places and what they want to do in Liberia, 255 kilometers would be the capacity that they can bear. And so the IMCC work with us and endorse that figure. So we can do so. But let me say what happened for Bobolo. And like I said, that there are other concessions that will come. And we have right now the WHBO. It's a company that once did an arrangement with the last government and was at the stage of finalizing, and they were ready to bring funding to pave the road. Of course, the government will have contributed, but they were ready to bring resources to that. That did not materialize. We've signed a non-binding MOU with them. They are currently doing a feasibility studies from Topper to Bopolu. Okay, Swan, Bopolu, and then from Broadway to Bopolu, and from Bopolu, we added up to Kolahun to Lofa to connect that. They're currently doing the studies. And they're also proposing that they have funding. We'll see what the model look like. So Broadway Bopolu has been captured in that particular arrangement. We also have an arrangement that's been done to connect Greenville to Granville through the Saco National Park. That is also being looked at. And that's why I said several of these arrangements will come to the legislature, because we believe private financing is the way to go. And once we have that and can manage and protect it and work with these private financiers, and once we are not providing sovereign guarantee and they are proposing to bring resources, of course, interest rate may be high. Like this federal interest rate, I think it's 1.5. 1.5. So it's almost concessional. So if we're able to get better rates and we can have private companies to invest in this corridor, that's something we should do. So Broadway Buffalo is being captured, Senator. Just that it's in the next phase, phase 2. Let me say it that way.
I don't mean, Senator, you know what it was, smell notice?
Smell notice, yes, I heard that thing, smell notice. Yes, I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it.
We can taste it.
Yeah, I heard about it. No, Buffalo is
But they don't show that politicians.
yeah, it's been taken care of. That's why I said it's been
Because you are saying that the mayor was subcontract. So we need to add that segment there.
we go with we said
Yeah,
our
so
advice.
from our point, we
No
may
problem,
add it
but
there.
we the
So
technical.
we have that-
No, Senator, please. Senator, it's a technical decision.
We are saying technical people.
Yeah,
I can assure you.
but if you
I can
first
assure you very well, so I can break down
but
your costs and tell you the design and construction, I can go there.
well,
We put it in the war.
let's discuss that one later.
Yeah, we need to discuss it.
Yeah, Deputy Minister.